Are you wanting to add a pumpkin to a project, but you don't want to add the pumpkin to the top of the project? You actually want to crochet the pumpkin within the project? I'm going to show you the process that I do, and it's actually pretty cool. In this video, I'm going to show you how to insert a pumpkin shape into whatever it is that you want to create, whether it's a beanie with a pumpkin or a scarf, a shawl, a blanket, a table runner, a pillow, washcloth, pot holder, really anything you could possibly want to make where you'd want to insert a pumpkin. I'm going to show you how to do it. Now, this technique is not an applique. It's not a pumpkin that we create and then sew or attach onto a project. Oh no. What we are doing in this video is we are actually doing color changes within the work itself, so that way the pumpkin shows up, it pops up in whatever it is that we are making, but the work is flat, it's seamless. You've inserted the pumpkin within the work itself. It looks really cool, looks very professional, and I think you're gonna love this. Now, in order to do this method, to create the pumpkin shape within the work itself, we are using a technique called intarsia. In order to do intarsia, it throws us into the intermediate level crocheter category. It is challenging. It is going to be something you have to pay attention to. You have to make sure you're color changing in the right stitch. So I get it. It is going to be a little challenging. The stitches that we can use to make this pumpkin shape are all the basic stitches. All single crochets, all half double crochets, all double crochets. But the big important part is that all of the stitches are the same. So like I said, all of the stitches would need to be single crochets. All of the stitches need to be half double crochets, double crochets in order to make this work. The stitches need to be a 1-to-1 stitch ratio, where there's one stitch on top of one stitch. That way when we do the color changes and I know, okay, I need to color change 2 stitches before the row before, okay, there's the stitch, 1, 2, I need to color change here. So it's going to be really important to have that 1-to-1 stitch ratio so you can control or see where it is that you actually need to do the color changes. Okay, the terminology I used in this pattern is all US terminology, so whenever I'm referring to the name of a stitch, it's in US terms. There are 2 different ways that you can take this pattern that we are doing today. One is I'm going to show you how to make this pumpkin within a square, so you can see where the color changes hit to make the pumpkin. So you can choose if you want to take the square itself and just make lots of squares and attach the squares together. That would look really, really cute. Or you can choose to take the pumpkin out, the pumpkin shape out, and attach it to a blanket or attach it to a beanie or attach it to whatever project you want to attach it to. And I helped you out by creating a diagram. I actually made 2 diagrams to help you out. This diagram here is this exact square. So it shows you where the color changes happen, how many stitches are that color change, and all you would have to do is swap out these single crochet stitches for whatever stitch you want to use. I also made this diagram right here for you, so you will know, okay, the first row of the pumpkin has 4 stitches. The second row of the pumpkin has 8 stitches. The third row of the pumpkin has 10 stitches, and you'll know when to make those color changes. And then you can take this pumpkin and insert it into whatever. Now, it's important that you make a plan to insert this pumpkin into a project before you make the project. Because again, we're not making something that we're attaching to the front of a project. We're actually color changing within the project itself. So having a plan before you create it is super essential. So you can find this pattern in the comment section and description section below this video. Just click the link. It'll take you to my website, crochetwithtiffany.com, where you can just print out the pattern and be ready to crochet with me. I do highly encourage you to get the pattern because these diagrams are so incredibly helpful. They really are. And they are empowering too, and in the fact of where you can add it and what you can do with it. All right, when you are ready to begin, let's go ahead and dive into what materials I used to show you how to do this process. All right, so the materials that I used for this pumpkin inlay demonstration, they're all completely interchangeable. Feel free to swap out the color, the yarn size, the yarn texture, the yarn fiber. Really have fun with this. All right, so if you are curious though, the yarn that I am using is 100% acrylic yarn. It's all a size 4 weight worsted medium Aran 10-12 ply or 8 WPI sized yarn. The exact yarn I'm using is Loops Threads Impeccable Yarn in the color Aran. I love this yarn in the color Burnt Pumpkin. And lastly, Loops Threads Impeccable Yarn in the color Deep Forest. I use this color for the stem of the pumpkin. It's a very small amount, but it makes it pop. It's super cute. Okay, the crochet hook that I am using is the H8 or 5mm crochet hook. I do recommend a yarn needle or tapestry needle. There's going to be a lot of ends we need to weave into the project. And a pair of scissors because we are going to be cutting the yarn as we are working through changing colors, and so scissors are going to be a big deal, so make sure you have a really good pair. I will have links to everything you see here in both the description section and the comment section below this video, so if you really want to use what I am using, feel free to click that link, purchase the item, and have it shipped directly to you for ease and convenience. All right, when you are ready to go, let's go ahead and dive right into how I did the pumpkin inlay. Okay, so starting with the color that you are using for the border or surrounding color of the pumpkin. Long enough tail for you to weave in your ends. Create your slip knot. Attach your crochet hook. We are ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and start with chaining 15 chains. 1, 2, 3, 14 and 15. Perfect. All right, so for row 1, we are going to single crochet in the second chain from our crochet hook. So looking at our V-stitches here, 1, 2, single crochet into that second chain. And for row 1, all we are doing is making 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch space all the way across. You should end with a total of 14 single crochet stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 14. Great. All right, to move on to row 2, we will chain 1, turn our work, and continue making 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch space all the way across. For row 2, we will also have 14 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 13, 14. Perfect. Just finished row 2. It's row 3 that we start introducing color B for the pumpkin. So go ahead and have color B ready to go. All right, so for row 3, chain 1, turn our work. We will make 1 single crochet stitch in the first 5 stitch spaces. Okay, let's lay our work down, grab color B. So starting with a tail long enough for us to weave in the ends, create our slip knot, and actually create our noose or our loop. Have that ready to go. Come back to our main work. We need to actually undo the 5th single crochet stitch we just made because I want to do a very clean color change. I don't want one color entering the work of my image. I want it to be very, very clean. Okay? To do that, I need to come back a little bit to the 2 loops that were on my crochet hook of stitch number 5. Take my loop of color B, place it on my crochet hook, and pull color B through the 2 loops on my crochet hook for that clean color change. Then I'll come back to color A and I'll pull just to tighten that stitch a little bit and continue working. With color B, we will make 4 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's after the 4th single crochet that I change back. So I need to back up that 4th single crochet stitch to the 2 loops on my crochet hook and pause. There's going to be 2 different variations that you can do this project, and depending on what project you are making, this is going to be important to know. So pausing my work for a second, bringing these demos to the table, flipping them over. See the difference? Here's the front, 2 pumpkins, very clean, very easy to see. Looking at the back, this way right here is me carrying the yarn without cutting it. This way right here, they're both intarsia. This way right here, there's less ends to weave in because you are carrying the yarn. This side over here, where it's clean on both sides, I cut my yarn after every color change and then wove in all the ends. This way of doing it, there's a lot of ends to weave in. I think it looks a lot cleaner, and depending on the project that you are using or you are making and inserting this into, if you want it to be clean on both sides, even though it's more work and you're weaving in a lot more ends, I recommend doing this side, or this way of doing it. If you don't care if one side has all of these overlaps and you just want the front side of the work to be clean, then feel free to do this method. Okay, so I'm going to show you both methods right now, but I just want you to know which way you're following, and I want you to make the choice on how much work you want to put into this, what you want your finished project to look like. If you are doing this method, the carryover, I'm going to call it the carryover method, we have the 2 loops on our crochet hook. You're going to pick up color A, and you're going to be very loose with it. You're going to yarn over color A and pull color A through the 2 loops on your crochet hook, and go ahead and pull the working yarn from color B so it tightens that stitch a little bit for you, cleans that up, and then continue working, making 1 single crochet stitch in the next 5 stitch spaces. Be very careful when doing this, like immediately after making that first single crochet, I recommend you taking your thumb and you stretching the work out, because if you make that first single crochet stitch tight, you're going to end up closing the work together from where the last color A stitch was to where the next color stitch A is. Okay, that's going to happen, and you're going to have all this bowing, and you're going to have, oh, it's going to bubble, and it's going to be a mess. So right after you make that first single crochet stitch, stretch out your work. That way you can make sure everything is laying flat. And then again, make 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch space to the end, which is the last 5 stitch spaces. So that's doing the carryover method. If you want to do the very clean double-sided method, come back to the work, take that color A from where we stopped it, cut a long enough tail for you to weave in the ends at the end of the project, create your next loop, there we go, come back here, this is stitch number 4, inserting second color for the clean color change and pulling through, pull tight, clean everything up, there we go, and make 1 single crochet stitch in the last 5 stitch spaces. I hope that made sense. The pattern's going to help a lot. It's going to be a big deal, so you can see where we are putting our different colors, what stitch spaces we are putting our different colors. Okay, row 4, chain 1, turn our work. Okay, so for row 4, we are going to start by making 1 single crochet stitch in the first 3 stitch spaces. 1, 2, It's after 3 that we make our color change. So in the 3rd stitch space, stop with 2 loops on our crochet hook, pick up the second color. Wait, before we pick up the second color, take the color A, and you actually want it to be on the front side of the work. We want all of our overlapping, all of this happening on one side. We want to keep this other side completely clean. So we want to make sure everything stays on one side of the work. So go ahead, take your working yarn and bring it forward. Grab color B, yarn over color B, pull color B through the 2 loops on your crochet hook, and be very loosey-goosey here, guys, because look, it's going to pull, it's going to yank. Stretch it out so it lays flat. Go ahead and pull color A so it tightens that stitch a little bit. Make 1 single crochet stitch with color B in the next 8 stitch spaces. So 1, pull, 2, 7, all right, it's 8 that we're going to do the color change. So stop at 2 loops, bring the color forward, grab color A, bring it over, pull, so everything will be laying flat, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on your crochet hook, single crochet in the last 3 stitch spaces. 1, 2, 3. Make sure it's loose, make sure everything's laying flat. Seriously, this is a big deal. Okay, that's for the pull over method or the yarn over method that we were talking about. Back it up. Going to cut this yarn with a long enough tail for me to weave in the ends at the end of the project. Now when we do this, don't worry about anything coming undone. It does not come undone. Then single crocheting with color B in the next 8 stitch spaces. So 1, 7, okay, 8 is where we change, grabbing the next color. That through. And single crochet in the last 3 stitch spaces. And with this technique, you don't have to worry about keeping the loops or the yarn on one side of the work. We are going to be weaving everything in, so we don't have to worry about where it falls. Great. That's row 4. Row 5, we are going to chain 1. Turn our work. We are going to single crochet in the first 2 stitch spaces. 1. It's the second stitch space that we make the color change. Grab that color B. Oh, I'm showing you the intarsia method first, or the pulling over method first. So yarn over with color B. We are going to make 1 single crochet stitch in the next 10 stitch spaces. 1, 8, 9, 10 is where we change. I want all of my strands to be on the back or on the same side, so pull that to the back, grab color A, and it's already wanting to pull. As soon as I did that, it wanted to just yank everything over. So make sure everything stays flat. Yarn over, pull color A through the 2 loops on your crochet hook, pull color B tight. See how it's already wanting to curl? I need to pull. Pull. Make the first single crochet stitch. Oh, next stitch over. Last 2 stitch spaces. So 1, tighten that up. 1, Great. Checking. Okay, it's laying relatively flat. Cool. Okay, so that is how we would do it with the yarn over method, or when we're carrying the yarn over. And then I'm going to come back. I'm going to go ahead and do the double-sided method. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 10, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Cut that. There we go. Back up that 10th stitch that I made. 2 loops on my crochet hook. And 1, 2. Okay. Okay, so that was row 5. So for row 6 through 8, all we are doing is repeating what we did in row 5. We will chain 1, turn our work. It will be 2 stitches of color A, 10 stitches of color B, and 2 stitches of color A. Go ahead and repeat this. I will meet you at the end of row 8 to show you how we start closing up the top of the pumpkin. All right, we just finished row 8. Now, I'm pretty sure there are 2 things you probably experienced. One of 2 things that you probably experienced in this process working row 6, 7, 8 on your own. 1, if you are working the yarn over method where you are bringing the yarn over and you're not having the mess of all the tails. I'm pretty sure there was at least one experience or once that you had to back up your work because maybe you had the yarn over on the wrong side of the work, so all of a sudden you had yarn overs on both sides of the work and it looked messy and it wasn't neat, and you're just like, dang it, I have to now go backwards and redo that and place the yarn tail on the right side of the work. So everything is on the same side and you have one side of the work that's very clean. Pretty sure that happens. That happens to the best of us. It's just the nature of the beast. The second thing, if you are using the double-sided method where it's clean on both sides of the work, you're probably looking at a lot of tails right now. It probably looks really messy and it's just a lot going on. And that's just another nature of the beast. If you want to have it clean on both sides, we're going to have to clean up, weave in the ends on both sides to make it look really clean, neat, and symmetrical on both sides. So that's where I'm at right here. That's what you're seeing right here with all of these tails. With row 9, we are basically repeating everything we did in row 4. We're now just going to be closing up that oval or circle of the pumpkin. So chain 1, turn your work, single crochet in the first 3 stitch spaces, 1, 2, it's stitch number 3, we're doing the color change, so go ahead and just 2 loops on your crochet hook. Take that color, I don't know what color, what side that you're working on. Do you need to bring it forward to keep all of your tails, all of your yarn overs on the same side? Or can you just drop it in the back? Pick up color B. For me, I need to create my clean slip knot. Right. Yarn over, pull through, pull tight. Single crochet in the next 8 stitch spaces. 1, 2, 7, 8. Okay, that's where my color changes. I'm going to come back to my last color. For me, I'm going to drop it. For you, you're going to pull it over if you are doing the yarn over technique. Pull through. and single crochet in the last 3 stitch spaces. 1, 2, 3. Okay, row 10, we are chaining 1. We are turning our work and repeating everything we did in row 3. Single crochet in the first 5 stitch spaces. 5, it's 5 that we are doing the color change. Make sure you are yarning over, making your strip go in the correct direction. I am dropping my color. Great, that tight. Single crochet in the middle 4 stitch spaces. Okay, it's number 4 that we do the change. 4. Great, pull that tight. And single crochet in the last 5 stitch spaces. Remember, if you are doing that yarn over method, to pull that work tight. Pull it before you commit to those stitches so that way it's not warping, bubbling, or coming in for any reason. Perfect. Okay, so it is actually the next 2 rows, row 11 and row 12, that we are dropping the pumpkin color and we are adding the stem color. So go ahead and grab the 3rd color, color C. Okay, so we are on row 11. For row 11, we will chain 1, turn our work. We will make 1 single crochet stitch in the first 6 stitch spaces. 1, 5, and it's 6 that we change. Grab color C, yarn over, pull through. Okay, depending if you're doing the pull over method or yarn over method, which way is your yarn strand going to have to go, forward or lay back? Single crochet with color C in the next 2 stitch spaces. Color change back to your cream color, Aran color, whatever color you have on the outside of the work. Great. And single crochet in the last 6 stitch spaces. Next row, row 12, chain 1, turn our work. Repeat what we just did for row 11. So make 1 single crochet stitch in the next 6 stitch spaces. 5 and 6 is where we color change. Which way are you placing your thread? You pull over technique people. Grab color C. I also like doing the clean on both sides technique because it prevents a lot of that tangling that happens with the yarn. 1 and okay, 2nd stitch, doing color change. We're actually done with the green color now, so if you want to, you can just feel free to cut that. Grab color A or whatever color was the border color. Okay, attach color A. Single crochet in the last 6 stitch spaces. Awesome. And then for the last 2 rows of this square, row 13 and row 14, we are just making 1 single crochet stitch in color A all the way across. So chain 1 and making 1 single crochet stitch with color A in all 14 stitches all the way across. Great. Last row, row 14, 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch all the way across. Okay, at the very end here, we are done. So at least for this square section, if you are working in whatever project you're working, just continue on cutting your yarn and then tying off your work. There you go. And that's it. That's the teeny tiny pumpkin. So if you wanted to insert this pattern for the pumpkin into any pattern, any like stitch, you want to change the stitch to maybe half double crochets or double crochets, even treble crochet stitches, whatever the pattern is working, feel free to do that. Absolutely, just change the single crochet stitch for that other stitch and then decide, are you going to be making something that you want the pumpkin to be the same on both sides, or if it's okay if you have the yarn overs on one side. That's totally up to you. Honestly, when it comes to this technique with the yarn over on one side, after you are done making your pumpkin, there's nothing to come back to because you kept all of the strands on the same side, so you can just go and don't have to worry about it. So that is definitely a pro for the yarn over technique. You're done. You can just keep going, move on. However, with the clean on both sides technique, you are left with this mess right here. A lot of ends to weave in, and I get it, that's super annoying, but if you want it to look clean on both sides, guys, that's just what you gotta do. So that's it. That is how you do the pumpkin inlay using different intarsia techniques, the two different intarsia techniques. And like I said, in the pattern, I will have a diagram so that way you just can follow along with each color. It's color coded and you know what stitch it is. Replace the single crochet stitch with something else if you would like to. Know where you will make the color changes, and you can literally just take this. I also have a second separate diagram in there that's just color coded. It's not stitches. So if you want to just insert this pattern into whatever project you are doing, you can. Just make sure you know exactly when you are changing colors. All right, guys, that's it. Let me know what you thought of the intarsia color changing method and the pumpkin inlay. I'm really curious, which technique did you go with, or do you plan on trying? There was the two techniques. There was the yarn over method, and then there was the double-sided method with lots of tails that you had to weave in, but it was gonna be clean on both sides. Let me know in the comment section below which one you are either going with, or when you give this a try, that's gonna be the technique you try. I'm really curious which one wins out, which one's more popular than the other. All right, if you liked this video, guys, please do all the things, like, subscribe, check out my membership program. If you had fun, you've got to check out this playlist right here. More videos where we can crochet together and keep this going. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, crocheting with me. I always love crocheting with you. I'll see you with the next one, guys. Bye.